E-Chemistry class, Fatima Convent High School, myself, Dipali. Chapter 3, Metals and Non-Metals, Class 10. We are going to study about extraction of metals or occurrence of metals. We studied the properties and how they behave and the reason for their behavior. But now, where do we find these metals from in nature? Are they found as it is naturally and you can just collect and use them? Or they are found mixed with something else. Let us check that with the help of the description below. Occurrence of metals. The Earth's crust is the major source of metals. Seawater also contains some soluble salts such as sodium chloride, magnesium chloride, etc. The elements or compounds which occur naturally in the Earth's crust are known as minerals. At some places, minerals contain a very high percentage of a particular metal and the metal can be profitably extracted from it. These minerals are called ores. So, basic definition of mineral is the mineral containing high percentage of a particular metal and can be extracted easily is ore. And the mineral is the earth's crust or the soil which contains the certain percentage of metals in it. Now, how are these metals extracted? We have learned about the reactivity series of metals. Having this knowledge, we can easily understand how a metal is extracted from its ore. Some metals are found in Earth's crust in the free state. Some are found in form of their compounds. The metals at the bottom of the reactivity series are less reactive and so they are found in free state. They are often found in a free state. For example, gold, silver, platinum and copper are found in free state and so they are also called as inert metals. Copper and silver are also found in combined state as sulfide and oxide ores. Metals at the top of the reactivity series like potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum are so reactive that they never are found free in nature. The metals in the middle of the reactivity series, that is zinc, iron, lead and copper etc. are moderately reactive and they are found in Earth's crust mainly as oxides. Sulfides are carbonates. We will find that the ores of many metals are oxides. This is because oxygen is very reactive element and is very abundant on the earth. Thus, on the basis of reactivity, we can group metals into the following three categories: metals of low reactivity, metals of medium reactivity, and metals of high reactivity. And on the basis of that, they are extracted by different techniques. Several steps are involved in the extraction of pure metals from ore. A summary of the step is given here in this flow chart. The ore. Ore is concentrated by removing various impurities in the form of gangue, and this concentrated ore is further processed depending upon the reactivity of the metal present in it. If it is highly reactive, it has to undergo electrolysis of molten ore, then pure metal is obtained. If it is medium reactive and has carbonate ores, then calcination is done. After that, oxides of metal is obtained, which is reduced and then purified. Similarly, if it is medium reactive and contains sulfide ores, then it is undergone roasting. After that, oxides of metals are formed, reduction of metal is done, and purification of metal is done. If it is very low reactivity, it is generally found as sulfide ores, which is roasted or roasting process is done on it where you get the metal and metal is refined. So these are the steps. Let us see enrichment of ores. Ores mined from the earth are usually contaminated with large amount of impurities such as salt, sand, soil, etc. called gangue. These impurities must be removed from the ore prior to the extraction of metal, and the process of removing the gangue from the ore are based on difference between the physical or chemical properties of gangue and the ore. Different separation techniques are accordingly employed. This process is also called as concentration of ore. Then the next step is, according to their reactivity, the metals of low reactivity series. Metals in the low in reactivity series are very unreactive. The oxides of these metals can be reduced by metal to metal by heating alone. For example, Kennaber, that is mercury sulfate, is an ore of mercury, which is heated in air. It is first converted to mercuric oxide and HgO, and mercuric oxide is reduced to mercury on further heating. So simply just by heating process, you get the pure form of metal. Similarly, copper is also found as Cu2s in nature and can be obtained from its ore just by heating in air. 2Cus plus 3O2 on heating gives 2Cu2O plus 2SO2, and 2Cu2O plus Cus gives 6Cu plus SO2. Extracting metals in the middle activity series. The metal in the middle of the activity series such as iron, zinc, lead, copper are moderately reactive. So, for this they are usually present as sulfide or carbonate ores in nature. It is easier to obtain a metal from its oxide as compared to sulfide or carbonate. So, first it is necessary for them to be converted into oxides or sulfides. Therefore, prior to reduction, the metal sulfides and carbonates must be converted into metal oxides. And metal sulfides are converted into oxides by heating strongly in presence of excess of air. There are two processes for this, and this process is called roasting. The carbonate ores are changed into oxides by heating strongly in limited amount of air, and this process is called calcination. So the reaction that takes place during roasting and calcination are shown below. So you can say the difference between calcination and roasting is the process in which carbonate ores are changed into oxide by heating strongly in limited air is called calcination, and the process in which sulfide ores are converted into oxides by heating strongly in presence of excess of air is called roasting. During calcination, CO2 gas is evolved, and during roasting, SO2 gas is evolved. The examples are given here, that is 2ZnS plus O2 on heating gives ZnO plus SO2, that is calcination. And ZnCO3 on heating further gives zinc oxide plus carbon dioxide. The metal oxides are then reduced to the corresponding metals by using suitable reducing agents such as carbon. For example, when zinc oxide is heated with carbon, it is reduced to metallic zinc. ZnO plus C gives Zn plus Co. You are already familiar with the process of oxidation and reduction explained in the first chapter. Obtaining metals from their compound is also a reduction process. Besides using carbon, coke to reduce metal oxides to metal, sometimes displacement reactions can also be used. The highly reactive metals such as sodium, calcium, aluminum, etc. are used as reducing agents because they can displace metals of lower reactivity from their compounds easily. For example, manganese dioxide is heated with aluminum powder to give following reaction. MnO2 plus 4Al gives 3Mn plus 2Al2O3 plus heat. Can you identify the substances that are getting oxidized and reduced? Of course. We know that oxygen is getting removed here, so it is reduced, and here oxygen is added, so it is oxidized. These displacement reactions are highly exothermic, and the amount of heat evolved is so large that the metals are produced in molten state. In fact, The reaction of iron oxide Fe2O3 with aluminum is used to join railway tracks or cracking machines parts. This reaction is called as thermite reaction because of the high evolution of heat. Fe2O3 plus 2Al gives 2Fe plus Al2O3 plus heat. Now what about the extraction of metal towards the top of the reactivity series? The metal high up in the reactivity series are very reactive. They cannot be obtained from their compounds by heating with carbon. For example, carbon cannot reduce oxides of sodium, magnesium, calcium, aluminum, etc. to their respective metals. This is because these metals have more affinity for oxygen than carbon. And these metals are obtained by electrolytic reduction. For example, sodium, magnesium and calcium are obtained by electrolysis of their molten chlorides. The metals are deposited at cathode, the negatively charged electrode, whereas chlorine is liberated at anode, the positively charged electrode. And the reaction is Na plus electron gives Na and 2Cl minus gives Cl2, that is electron. Similarly, aluminum is obtained by electrolytic reduction of aluminum oxide. So you can see that this is electrolytic refining of copper. In this, the electrolytic solution of acidified copper sulfate is filled in the cell, and the anode is impure copper, whereas cathode is the strip of pure copper. When we pass electric current to it, the pure copper is deposited on the cathode and the impure copper is getting dissolved into the solution. And so simultaneously, by a chain reaction, it moves from one part to the other part of the anode and cathode. If you understand this in detail, then metals such as copper, zinc, tin, nickel, silver and gold are refined by electrolytic process. And these metals, the impure metal is made as anode and thin strip of pure metal is made as cathode. The solution of metal salt is used as an electrolyte and the apparatus is used as shown in the diagram here. After that, electric current is passed and it undergoes an electrolytic reaction which gives rise to the different ions, that is like Na plus and Ca plus electron gives Na and Cl minus and Cl2 gives 2 electrons. So that is how electrolytic refining is done. So we can say refining of metal, the metal produced by various reduction processes described above are not very pure. They contain impurities which can be removed to obtain pure metals. The most widely used method is the electrolytic refining, which we already understood. Electrolytic refining, as I explained, metal such as copper, zinc, tin, nickel, silver, gold, etc. are refined electrolytically. Impure metal is made the anode, the strip of pure metal is made cathode, the solution of metal salt is used as electrolyte and the apparatus is set up as in the figure. On passing current through the electrolyte, the pure metal from the anode dissolves into the electrolyte and an equivalent amount of pure metal from the electrolyte is deposited on the cathode. The soluble impurities goes into the solution, whereas the insoluble impurities settle at the bottom of the anode and is known as anodic mud. So this is how we can easily understand about the extraction of metals. Thank you.